Good news, everyone!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bandit Radio Hour. Hey, I got it out right that time. We are once again secluded in our trailer / bunker in Southwest Florida. We're coming at y'all. Thank y'all. First off, right off the bat, everybody, thank y'all for listening. Even like 20 minutes past this part, that means y'all didn't accidentally throw it on here. And we're even picking up numbers. This is cool. So really, thank you everybody for listening. Now, done with that horse shit. On to actually talking about things. Merce, you got done with the Rodeo?
Oh, the Rodeo, yes, off the drive.
How was that? Now, you did...
It was the 95th Arcadia Annual Rodeo, the granddaddy of them all.
And now,
And it was a root tootin' good time.
Did you participate in it?
No.
No, yeah, the hell with that. We don't do rodeo.
I have no desire to have to do that for, like, work sometimes and then go do it for fun.
I asked my mom, actually, earlier today, I said, you know what? I know other ranching families that are, like, deep into the rodeo, and, like, your family's big on going to it. And, like, y'all done that forever, haven't y'all?
Yeah, well, it's like because they're members on the association and stuff like that.
Right. They're involved in it.
Yeah.
I've been twice in my life to a rodeo, and one was a ranch rodeo. No, I've been 3 times. I've been to a ranch rodeo. I went to a pro rodeo, but it might have been at the Turner Center in Arcadia. But I also went to a Mexican rodeo. And let me tell you something.
You got us kicked out of the VIP tent drinking underage.
What?
At the rodeo in Arcadia. Because we had free, or maybe not underage, but we had free tickets.
That's right, I went
we had
with you
tickets, and then you
one
tried to
time.
give in free drinks to somebody else that wasn't supposed to be in the VIP or something, and got us kicked out of the VIP tent.
That makes sense. Who did I give a drink to?
I don't know, but you did something and got us kicked out of the VIP
That
tent.
makes sense. And I don't fully remember this memory.
So add in one more rodeo.
Okay, one more rodeo. That might have been... What rodeo was that we went to?
That was the Arcadia Rodeo.
Okay. Is that technically a pro rodeo?
Yeah, it's on the PBR circuit.
Then yeah, that's the pro rodeo I went
Okay.
to. That's the one I'm remembering. Was that... Wait, that was at the old arena. Yeah. Okay. No, I remember that. And I went to a Mexican rodeo when I was younger than that. That was intimidating. That's the...
I've seen a cleanup that goes on after one of those,
God.
so I can only imagine. I also remember one of the bulls got loose and was running through the neighborhoods there off Hargrave.
Oh la la.
Yeah, I imagine it was just the angry Spanish bulls. So some people are just getting some poor guy just riding his bike or walking down the street and got just smoked.
It had 4 swords sticking out of it and flags.
I'm picturing the Looney Tunes bulls got little guns for the horns.
There you go. Guns for... Oh yeah, I remember when he gets really angry. The horns start going off. Yeah, you're right. But so... Yeah, so what? You actually said you saw something, you saw a horrifying event.
Oh, yeah, because, the livestock and, all the animals that are there, they're just... So I'm sitting there watching, and, some people don't like rodeo because they think it's cruel to animals. And I've never felt that way until this time. I'm sitting there watching these 3 little calves get put in the center of this arena.
Right. Big arena, dirt on the ground.
Yeah, and they tie 3 little bandanas to their tails. And then the premises...
Now, hang on, so they're not all tied together, 3 calves, a flag on each tail.
Right.
Okay.
And then they invite all the children at the rodeo down into the arena.
How many are we talking?
I'm talking a couple hundred.
A couple of hundred?
A couple hundred children.
Oh my God.
And so now these 3 calves are staring death in their eyes as all these little snotty-nosed kids.
Hang on. So do the kids encircle them, or do the calves kind of have a corner?
They put the calves on one end, or just sitting in the arena, and then all the children are amassed on the other end of the arena.
A mountain of 7-year-olds.
And they're told, and then they get a $50 bill if they pull the bandana off the tail. And then
Best $150 ever spent in human history.
100%. And then all at once they yell, "Go!" And when I say it looks like the movie 300, where the immortals just come running out of the mist.
The mass of them.
Oh, they're all screaming and then just running at these 3 calves. They're just standing there, have nowhere to go. And like I said, the 2 kind of turn. It's a circle. They can't run real far. 2 kind of run off to the side.
So did they flank? Did the 2 flank the kids? Get around them? Or?
No, they just tried to run as far away as possible. But one just accepted his fate and turned
bravely
and ran headlong into these children and just starts cartwheeling these little kids, and they're just like,
good for that calf.
And then you just see like the kids just like rolling over each other as they're trying to turn back and tripping over each other.
His gut didn't go the way
they got his bandana off, but he definitely took out fighting, and then the other kid just kind of swarmed the other two, and they just.
Now I'm curious. You're like on the fair commission. Like, who supplied the calves?
Sure, it just came with whoever brought in like all the rough stock and stuff.
I
think it was like two like from the calf roping. It was like three of those.
How big of calves were they?
I'd say they're decent. I'd say like 250, 300-pound calves.
Now you think after that, like they go back out to their pasture where the other. Well, I don't know what they do with calf roping. I'm really ignorant of it, but I'm thinking, man.
They go put them back in the pen with like other calves, and they're probably they have some war stories.
Like, guys, no, I know the big ones stick us with needles and rope us and stuff. But there was a day. There was a day I faced off against their younglings.
Yeah, no, it was just like I said, you just watched like a swarm of these children just come like sprinting at these calves.
But that's how, just like you said though, that's kind of how my family always looked at it. After asking my mom, I was like, why didn't my grandpa ever like get into the rodeo or whatever? She goes, he did the work so much during the week, like to take a weekend to go do more of the work and maybe not get paid for it was like, no.
Yeah.
Out of there, I want to go home and sit in the air conditioning and relax this weekend. I don't want to bust my
that's
ass.
me. I'll go for the afternoon, watch rodeo. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's also then like see the Cowboys getting thrown off and everything. It's like I'm glad that's not me and I can walk tomorrow.
Yeah, and like I do have like a definite respect for anyone who does it. I think it's like, is it a little bit of animal cruelty? I mean, like, if I'm being honest, like, yeah, it's a little bit, but it's a little bit of human cruelty too.
I think it's kind of an even playing field.
I mean, we don't stab them to death like the bullfighters do or anything like that. But even
the one thing I got against bullfighting is what they do is like before like the actual matador steps in there is they cut the muscles on the bull's neck where he can't turn his head and hook. So that's why he can sidestep it, because the bull can't really throw his head and catch him. So other than that, that's what I say. Give the bull a fair
bunch of faggy Spaniards.
Yeah.
What a.
Well, I mean, look at their outfits.
True. I mean, but like, yeah.
But no, like, I mean, way cooler to see. Like, I'd love to go to the bullfight and the bull win.
I was telling you like a tad bit about this. I think the other day on the phone, but I remember something that blew my mind. It was in. Do you remember Coach Langham, the guy from like Michigan? Blonde hair, always talked like this, you know, like he was real. He might have been from Wisconsin. Anyways,
it sounds familiar, but I can't.
He is our world history teacher, and he was one of the first teachers. He was a nerd, so like in our age, he was one of the first ones to go like, "Hey guys, so there's this like search engine called Google where you can like look up anything," and we're like, whatever, Northern Yankee man with your funny magic googly eyes. But he's like, oh, y'all want to see something neat about the rodeo? And we're like, yeah. He goes, where do y'all think it came from? We're like, I don't know, Texas. You know? Ancient Greece. Now they wear togas. And he goes, no, like you should.
Why do I feel like I'm not going to like where this goes?
No. Not down that road. Not down that. I don't think. We weren't taught about that road. What he showed, it was a badass, what do you call it? Where you got a big painting, but it's made up of a bunch of little tiny rocks that you...
Pointillism.
No.
It's a painting made of a bunch of little dots?
Not dots.
But a mosaic.
Mosaic, yeah. It was a huge mosaic of, like, this event they would go to in the Colosseum where there'd be It was a certain island in Greece. It might have been Cyprus.
There's like a donkey and people throwing a bunch of money and tequila.
Not Mexico. Not Mexico. There might have been that in Rome and maybe even Greece, but not this. The mural shows like a dude getting like charged by a bull, and what the goal was to run head first at it and jump and grab its horns and land on its neck and ride it. That was the game. And it was like
how bored were people back then?
Dude.
Like if you weren't like starving to death or at war, like.
Well, I think for the most part, people weren't starving to death. I mean, I think it depends on time and place.
That was before the Dark Ages, I would assume.
And not only that, like there were times there were famines. You know, crops didn't grow right for a different amount of reasons. But I mean, for the most part, I don't know. There's this really famous like lefty meme that shows like medieval times, and it's like halfway right and it's halfway wrong. It's like, did you know in medieval times they only worked 150 days out of the year and only worked like for. They tried comparing it to the modern day. It's like, all right, here's what you don't get, you dumbass. They're getting paid less than $1 a day. They don't
have toilet paper.
They don't own anything. That like they're sitting in their lord's house on their lord's land. So, anyways. But so it depends where and when. But no, I think there's just times of plenty that everyone parties and has a good time. There's times of not plenty where everyone's like, we don't have no entertainment because we got to kill rats and eat them.
And then you get the plague.
Yep. Not if you're eating the rats. That's if the fleas off the rats are eating you.
I'm assuming it's just a vicious cycle.
What was that thing I read about? I don't know how true it was, but it's one of those fun thoughts anyways. What, like a huge chunk of the Black Death was due to them getting rid of cats because they didn't like them, but the cats have a really good method of getting rid of not only rats and mice, but fleas. Which someone didn't know. Like, as they clean themselves, their tongues look like, if you look at it on a microscope, look like little Velcro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can just grab fleas and go.
Huh.
Yeah. Like, what badass little creatures y'all are. I mean, y'all are little bitches, too. I don't like you, but...
yeah, it's a cat's like a double-edged sword. Like, I don't know. It's like I can appreciate a cat for that it's a cat, but at the same time, I don't know what an animal that can be more infuriating.
I don't like how they interact with humans because they just act like stubborn.
They have like a grandeur like about them. Like they perceive themselves in a high light.
Yeah, like better than you. But I love them interacting with other animals. Like I just love the internet. Like you'll just see some dog minding its own business and a cat walking by. Cat just turns around, whacks shit out of the dog. It's like, step in line, motherfucker. The dog's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will sit still. I don't know what I did to anger you, tiny hairy midget. And the cat's like, what? Keeps walking. So, no, cats are bad. How the hell did we get to...
We went from Greek rodeo to cats.
Yeah. So, yeah, you went rodeoing. At least visiting it. Soberly. That'd be interesting.
Not as fun.
No. No. That's most of... I don't like drinking a whole lot anymore. And that's half the reason I don't go to rodeos. Because if I'm... There are some people I don't mind being around if they're drunk. Like, I can have a fun time with them and I can roll with the punches with them. But when you have a big crowd of drunk people, I'm like, I just got to get out of here for this.
It was good. Spent time like my niece and nephew, and so I think they had more fun just running back and forth like on the bleachers than anything. But...
Yeah, doing the 4-year-old thing.
Yeah.
So no, what did I do this last week? Last week was crazy between herbiciding and fertilizing, which spraying pastures essentially with a big tractor and boom sprayer. Did that, fixed fence, tried getting it all done so I could haul ass up to Michigan to see my son for his birthday. Then, excuse me, Folgers, making me burp, and like $20 worth of Taco Bell. But no, I went up, woke up at 4 in the morning to go catch a flight to go up there. Flight got canceled. No explanation at all. No nothing.
Yeah, you're not even supposed to be here recording right now.
No, I'm supposed to be up there, and that was a big ass letdown, so that sucked. I was really pissed off about that.
Did they ever get a follow up, a refund?
No, there was other. So it's a flight from Florida up to Michigan, and there were like every other airline was making flights that day. There was a snowstorm in Michigan, but I saw other flights landing, and to book another flight for that day was like I'd already spent $500, and I can wait 5 days to get that back from my canceled flight. But like other flights that day were like $1,000 to like book one that day to get up there.
Jeez.
So I was like, nope, not making it. Sorry, bud. But he had fun. It was cool. He had a party. Partied down in a hotel and sent me a bunch of pictures. And like everything's frozen ice outside, but they're in a hotel that's got like a heated pool and like a beach on the inside.
Okay, yeah, I've seen one of those.
Yeah, and I'm like, so him and his friends are having fun.
Good deal.
That was he just turned 9 years old, so that's about the time you start getting into fuckery. That's about the time you start
shenanigans.
Yeah, they're good. Speaking of shenanigans, hang on. You are gonna get some more content this week. I'm actually kid free. My daughter's spring break. She's staying with a grandparent. But I figured I'd break the mold the other night while I had her. and this is something we kind of talked about on here. I wanted to introduce her to South Park. And I was like, well, if there's a mild enough episode on, I'll show it to her.
Is it the Christmas Friends?
No, no. It's not even that bad of one. But, like, I gotta say, my daughter, I know a lot of fathers look at their daughter as, like, way more innocent than they really are. I really think my daughter is, like, a really, really innocent 8-year-old. I'm like, let's try out a little bit of South Park. She knows a little bit about it. It's the Aspen video. The Aspen one.
Oh, a little piece of Aspen.
A little bit, French fries, pizza slice.
If not, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah. So, like, we'll start it off and see how
Stan Darsh.
I was like, the worst thing I remember is a chick shows her boobs that aren't boobs, or little monsters that are attached to her chest. Do you remember that part?
No.
Oh, it's towards the end of it. She distracts the cool skier.
Oh, yeah, when they're racing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, so the episode starts out with the parents meeting up and all the kids are together. And Kenny has died for real and hasn't come back. And Butters, this is like one of the first few episodes where Butters has replaced Kenny. And it starts off, no, Lily's watching this with me. Like, there's been a couple of cuss words so far. She goes, that's funny. That's okay. And then it gets to, Cartman goes, hey, listen, Butters. Butters passes out while they're all playing video games. And Cartman goes, guys, I got this neat trick I found out about. I'm going to take a glass of water. I'm going to put Butters' hand in it while he's sleeping. And then I'm going to take off my pants and I'm going to pee on him. And then my daughter turns and looks at me and is like, he's going to what on him? And I'm like, no, it's funny. Just wait. And they go, no, Cartman, you're supposed to put his hands in water and he pees his pants. Cartman goes, no, this is more funny this way. And also, the other night, I did what I call a Hitler. I wiped my butt with my finger and wiped it underneath his nose to give him a Hitler must. And my daughter looked at me and goes, turn it off now. And I'm okay, I will.
She's too kind for this world.
She's too young. She's too pure so far. I guess she was riding with my mom the other day, and they're riding down a state road, and a dusty old semi passes around them, and there's something written on the back of it, and Lily is sounding it out. She's getting good at spelling so far, and she goes, Mom, my mom says, she goes, dick sucker. Mama Lynn, what's dick sucker? So, yeah. And my mom was like, don't worry about it.
What you get?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll get home and your dad will do it. This sounds like a dad question. Oh, Lord. So, that's how my past week has been. Ups, downs, funs, turns, curves. The rest of the world, holy shit, a lot of stuff. Like, I feel like we say that every week. But
it keeps finding ways to get worse.
By the way, if anyone wants a good, like, prediction of just how stuff is going down, I told Merce the whole way here, I listened to Yuri Badmanov. It's Yuri, Behemenov, or OZ, one or the other. Or KGB defector from the Soviet Union, just talks about how they plan to bring about destruction of the United States. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's 100% what the guy is saying, but I'm like, there's some beats there that you could track that are good. So if anyone's interested, go look up the old Black Ops 2 trailer. It's best trailer you've ever seen. But no, so in the last week, I know there's some funny stuff with money happening as far as Silicon Valley Bank and as far
it's not a bank anymore. It's out of money.
So what's happened with it?
They're out of money.
So what, they just lent more than they had, and then the FDIC ain't backing up what they had?
No, I'm not exactly sure what happened. Basically, the bank went bankrupt.
Okay.
And then FDIC...
And a bunch of people made a run on it, right? To find out their money wasn't there?
Yep.
And when I say people made a run on it in Silicon Valley, an example you gave was like Roku.
Yeah, like Roku's like one of their big companies. Roku has millions or say, I don't know, billions in the bank. Well, the FDIC only insures your money up to $250,000,
which is too much money for a guy like me.
That's mainly why I say it's to help people like me and you, essentially. But that would mean until some things are discovered, because the feds have shut it down. The feds have taken over the bank.
Nationalized it.
Well, I don't know the plans. I think it's so they can try to keep the funds going to the right place, but the government gets involved. But yeah, and that's of course happens on a Friday.
Yeah.
And so everybody's kind of like waiting to see what's going to happen tomorrow. But I just saw that Joe Biden's going to come out in the morning and address the crisis.
He will assure this nation and make us feel safe and secure.
I wish I had bought puts on the market, because whoever betted on the market going down on Monday is going to make a killing.
Good for them. I mean, at least someone's making a killing off.
But no, so yeah, the bank stock went from trading like $300 a share to like nothing in like a day. And it's just a chain reaction. And then, crypto, the SEC's gone after it and just decimated crypto. And then with the banks collapsing, the one stable coin.
Hang on. When you said that the SEC's gone after crypto, they've changed the language of what a security is, or what a...
Yeah, change what a security is to try to make it now a security where they can charge more taxes on it.
And from what I've heard, how they've wrote it, and I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to this stuff, but that practically they're not saying an old baseball card is a security, but by the language they made, an old baseball card is a security.
Yeah, essentially, and then like they're staking it. They're basically coming after it ways to make it less lucrative, or make it there's no reason for people to hold it, which is annoying. And then Biden also on either Thursday or Friday announced his new bill, or his new budget for the year.
More money.
Well, not only more money, and now a 30% tax on all crypto, or all electricity used to operate crypto. So like your mining rigs or the networks, they have to pay an additional 30% on all the electricity that's used. Then he's also raised the capital gains to 40%. Is like, so basically,
why would you get involved in
crypto or the markets
unless you've already secured your place in the market?
And so they've all started, and so there's just been a massive chain reaction of things. So I wouldn't be surprised if Monday morning, or by the time you're listening to this, it's not like in free fall. Hope you have your canned beans.
And the guys I've listened to, the people that have most convinced me probably of most of my beliefs are like some real economic nuts that used to surround Ron Paul back in his old election days. People like Tom Woods, Jeff Deist, Bob Murphy is an excellent dude on taking extremely complicated economic situations and boiling it down. One of his most famous analogies is people on an island.
Right.
He's like, if you have 20 people on an island, how does paper money work if you keep making more? And he just goes, all right, where does this change with 100 people, or with 1,000 or 300 million? Where does this start making sense to do it this way? So he's a real brilliant guy. But what these guys have said, and what the interest rate of the Fed right now is at what, Merce?
I don't remember its exact thing, but they
ballpark it.
Oh, it's like the highest it's been since like the 80s.
Yeah.
But
7% or something like that.
Yeah, and they had said that they were going to be about done. They could stop pausing. They kind of reached for the word. Things were going to be under control. And then also last week with everything going on, they're like, we were wrong. We're going to have to keep raising the rates.
Yeah. And from what I've heard, so them raising the rates, how this is, and without getting too much into details, it seems like over the past 2 years, and correct me if I'm wrong, Merce, every time the economy starts to pick up, the Fed... the government spends a lot more money than it already is.
Basically, anytime the Federal Reserve has been going off of like the market strength and the job numbers and stuff like that. So anytime they've been seeing, the Federal Reserve basically came out and said that we can't stop inflation. So the only way we're going to be able to stop inflation is if we stop the economy. Because if you're not spending money, the money can't be inflated. Yeah. So anytime there's been positive growth or things in the market, the Federal Reserve has come out and been like, nope, we're still raising rates. But at the same time, the government is still spending money.
And it's like if they did one or the other, it would be okay.
But they're doing both at the same time.
Yes.
And
if they either stopped spending the money, then you can have the higher interest rates and it wouldn't hurt as bad because we're not spending so much money.
It's like trying to stop the car before you wreck it, but you still got your foot on the gas as you're mashing the brake words.
And now here's the thing, I've heard, on that Meet Kevin channel you showed me, fantastic channel, anybody check it out, he does fantastic investigative journalism, and I doubt mine and his politics line up at all, which should be like a good endorsement of me if we're not in the same camp, and I still like,
Yeah, he's good. He's good on like
very thorough.
running down stuff that's like exactly what happened. Some of it's clickbaity, but he's very good at like presenting the facts.
Yeah, very clickbaity. But yes, factual, and he doesn't like wing it like we do. He's like, here's the document, very Alex Jonesy. Here's the documents to prove it.
Yeah.
Less theatrical. But they freak out about it this interest rate going up to like 7.5%.
Something just happened. I just stopped recording.
And we're back. I think I smashed a wire with my pin clicking, and it happened. Anyways, what I was getting at with that little bit of a rant was the people surrounding Ron Paul like 12 years ago, these economists that I've followed, and I have Googled so very hard to see how they were wrong on things. Like that was another one of my big turning points was I started hearing these like ideas about economics and free trade and stuff, and like, man, this stuff sounds wacky. Let me like Google and see how it's wrong. And I looked high and low and could not find a coherent argument against what these people were saying. And if what they're saying is true, I remember them saying like back in 2009 or 2010, after the 2008 recession, they were like, guys, I know this is like we were still trogging through it at the time, and they're like, we know this is bad. This isn't even putting our toes in the water of how bad, because of the math and because of our fiat money system and it not being backed by anything, this is a house of cards. And it's been a house of cards. It really since the Federal Reserve, especially since we got off the gold. Again, this back in 2008 with that spending that we had back then. Well, if we don't cut spending immediately and they don't raise, I think they said the interest rate has to be above 10% to even begin to make a difference. They're like, even if you just raised it to 11%, you're not selling.
I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, they were saying.
I'm like ready to flip my Monopoly board over and go play a different game.
It's getting, the more I look around, the more those people just seem like they were right. And they even other things they were talking about. I went to a cowboy class over the weekend. This is legitimately exactly what it sounds like. A bunch of cattlemen like go to this. It's like a continuing education credit seminar, but it's literally at a set of cow pens out underneath some oak trees. And there was really one of the smartest guys I've ever heard about cattle talking there, who had one of the most badass mustaches I've ever seen. I mean, starts under the lip, big bushy, goes down handlebars that go past the mutton chops and like back to his ears. And I was like, I can't even grow 1/10 of that. God bless you, kind sir. But gave fantastic presentation on like how to cow when you're working cattle for it to be more humane to the cow, to increase your money. The stuff I talked about in the other episode. The nicer you are to the cow, the more money you make. So, bada bing, bada boom, either way, it's a good thing.
Everybody wins.
But one of the other things he got into, which just like made my eyes roll to the back of my head, he said, so there is this current medication. It's an antibiotic. You can go buy it at Tractor Supply for $30 for right now. He said, in 6 months, now think about how, like, to put that in perspective, like, we give cows antibiotics the same reason you give them to humans. You got a really sick cow, give her a shot of some Restful Gold. I don't even know if that's an antibiotic, but, like, specifically the brand antibiotic that you get at Tractor Supply. I can't remember which particular one it is.
You can buy penicillin there.
Yeah, and it helps them come back. And he
For
said,
all you heathens, just FYI, you can buy penicillin at Tractor Supply.
There you go.
Make sure you read the dosages for your animals.
For your animals only. But he says, starting in 6 months, you will no longer be allowed to buy this at Tractor Supply. Instead of that, you must go to a vet, a government licensed vet, and you must get a prescription for a medicine that starts out costing $1,000 for the same amount of dosage.
Because the government got involved.
And so this was his reasoning. And God, I'm not picking on this guy because he's just the messenger that has to go out to the most isolationist groups of people.
And try not to get shot.
Yeah. Try to educate them and not get on their bad side. And part of it's like, guys, we'll cook you a steak at the end. Which it's really good steaks. They did a fantastic job. But he says the reasoning they're doing this is because they're worried about ranchers being all willy-nilly with their antibiotic program, which it's good, like a good observation. I'd say there's probably some ranchers that don't know what the hell they're doing when it comes to medicines, but they're not wasting their money on it, or else they're not going to stay in business very long just on that. But he said now they're starting to notice super bacteria and super, stuff that penicillin doesn't work on. Stuff that normal they're having to change antibiotic resistant bacteria strains, right? Yeah. And even
just from people not rotating.
Even he says this. He goes, what this is mostly from, and he says, I will tell you, I did this before I went to college, was if I got a prescription from the doctor and like it was amoxicillin or something, I took it until I felt better and then I stopped taking it. He said, like most people I knew. He said, you're supposed to take the whole thing because that kills what's in you. He said, if you don't finish that damn prescription, even after you feel better,
you live and
they grow resistant to all this. He said, so like, it's obvious that it's coming more from that and not from us giving cattle antibiotics, because he goes, how often does one cow get antibiotics per year? And it's like, not, there's some cows that will never get antibiotics. They might eventually, but it's like they might get sick once every couple of years,
Yeah.
If you keep them in good health and stuff. But so that's like the government's solution to this problem is to make it harder on ranchers while simultaneously increasing the profits of whatever big pharma company is making that antibiotic and cutting out all of their competition.
Yeah. The small scale farmer, the backyard farmer, is the first one to always get just whacked.
And now this is something like I really want to get at the heart at, because this is a micro example of something we've said before. It's in every single damn industry in this country. And it's like, what is worse? Let's say a farmer did something bad to a cow that got somebody killed, right? And they could trace it back to that farmer, or even if they couldn't trace it back to that farmer. That's one person dying from this guy's beef. Which feels local, you could trace it back much more easily than you could at one of these international packing houses. But I digress. What's worse? Like somebody dying from someone making a bad decision, or a decision being forced on all the producers of that product, which makes this harder to get for everybody. Literally simultaneously for everybody in the nation, this product, the steak, just became more expensive. Now, if you got a lot of money, it's no big deal to you. You can pay a couple extra bucks for a steak. For the mom and dad on like food stamps or like just barely getting by or whatever, like that's dinner for all of your kids, or cutting scraps a little short that night. Like that's a big decision maker. And I'm just talking about steaks in that instance. When you add it up on light bulbs, on water,
light bulbs are their own thing.
Dude, well, it's the same kind of, they literally.
We know the companies all got together and realized that their light bulbs were too efficient.
Yeah, so
and they were never selling light bulbs.
Yeah,
so they all agreed that, and there's they get together like once a year and agree to like how they're supposed to run out, and they can't deviate by so many.
But you know what they agree on? The laws and regulations to produce them. It's like that's a big lefty, or like should say like populist, like it's like, oh, the companies will get together and rig it, where it's like, no, they'll rig the laws where it's illegal to do this shit unless you do it their way.
Right.
But if they don't have the laws, what's the problem with them all getting together and saying, oh, we're only going to make light bulbs that last 1 year? It's like, someone else can open a factory and make them last 2 years. Right. Like this is just sell them out. And it's very, even Rockefeller, Mr. Monopoly Man, before he got in bed with the government, there was competition rising up against him because he spread himself too thin.
Right.
And he had to get government regulation to regulate out his competitors, which is like brilliant chess move. I'll give him that.
Right. No, like I said, hats off to you. You screwed us all.
Yes.
But sir, well played.
Yes.
Like you won the game. Congratulations.
You'll go to hell, but I'm sure in this life, good for you.
We're doomed for eternity, but you... Congratulations, you made all the right moves.
So yeah, I don't even know. So somehow medicine stay. Yeah, it's the more regulation that happens.
Well, I think they're going after ivermectin too.
Oh,
is one of the things to get it off there. But I've always wondered if that because it had something to do with the COVID thing on how readily accessible it was because they were getting mad at people taking the horse medicine.
I really thought, dude.
So I wonder if it's all tied in.
Do you remember when they showed the picture, and they said the gunshot wound victims for being ignored in Oklahoma City because of all the people overdosing on ivermectin?
I don't remember. I remember they were trying to make some big deal.
This was a news article in Rolling Stone, I think, and they showed a picture, and it's like the hospital's not seeing gunshot victims because people are ODing on ivermectin. And they published this in July in Oklahoma City, and the people you see in the picture waiting outside of the hospital are wearing jackets and scarves and beanies.
I need more blankets.
And less layers. In Oklahoma, we're in the middle of July, wearing a jacket. Turns out it was bullshit.
I'm pretty sure ivermectin won the Nobel Prize for being the most safe.
It's one of the safest and most easily made and cheapest drugs there are for a variety
which goes against everything big pharma and the governments want. And I'm going to tell you right now, my father has been taking it once a week since all this COVID stuff happened.
Just rub a little bit of that horse paste.
Yeah, no, he takes like the paste, like he just squirts it out on his finger.
You're talking about the legit horse rubber.
Yeah.
not the human ivermectin. Like he goes to the
drip. He says get the one whatever color.
If you know the dosage, it's the same shit.
He's like you just got to do the dosage by the pound. And remember, you're not a horse. He's like I just put a little on my finger and rub it on in my teeth.
Like guys out there.
And he has not been sick since. People have gotten sick around him. He has been just flying colors.
Guys, like there's so many ranchers and farmers I've talked to that are, or not even like necessarily ranchers. I mean like even horse people that are just like in the horse world. They're like, I don't go to a doctor. I got a vet friend.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, yeah, I just, treat. So I've never known. Have you ever known anybody to OD on animal meds?
No, but I think they're starting to now. I saw a thing on I think it was on Drew Garabo, or I was hearing on, there's something called, they're calling it Trank. They're taking some form of animal tranquilizer.
Well, that's like, a tale as old as time. Come on.
That's like some,
likes to party with a little tranquilizer.
Some like super cheap one that makes them like zombies. Like, remember like that crocodile stuff?
Yeah.
It's like a new reemergent of that where they're like messed up in Philadelphia.
Dude, I don't know if we've like ever really gotten into, how do people start these drugs? Like,
that's what I mean. I guess you get to a bad place, or if you're drunk, and I don't know, but like, I feel like everybody knows meth. Like,
I can understand everything up to and including cocaine. It's just like stereotypes based. I don't do coke. I think it's stupid to do.
Never tried them. Like, I can see that too. I'm saying I can.
There's like a lifestyle that's.
And then after that, I'm like, you're literally just taking your life and throwing it down the tube.
Your teeth fall out of your head, and you're chasing shadow people in your house. Which, hey, I'm all down for chasing shadow people.
Like, I don't get how nobody just like looks at some of the people out there and be like, I never want that to happen to me.
Dude.
And then they, like, you can't just do a little bit of meth. You can't just do just a little bit of meth.
Well, I think, dude, who was talking about, was this on Joe Rogan? Well, I might be stealing a little bit of a bit from him, but it was a fascinating thing I was listening to him talk about. No, it was on one of these damn iceberg things I started listening to. It was just like craziest Reddit entries. And there was this guy that was like a financial consultant. He was very white collar, very rich, and he was like, hey Reddit, listen, I'm like 35 now. I've never really done anything more than drinking and smoke a little bit of weed in college. I've decided I'm going to try heroin for the first time.
No!
And I'm going to document how this is. And he goes and like takes a picture of himself buying, like, cuts his face out and everything, but it's like, I'm buying. Oh,
I picture like a selfie with the drug dealer.
Like it's close, it's something like that. And he's like, and he starts out like it's like 3 days. And he's like, I'm gonna do this once and tell everybody how it is, and I'm never gonna do it again.
That's what everybody.
3 days later, so I'm gonna do heroin again. And, I'm gonna go score some, but I'm totally not addicted. But it's just such a good feeling. I want to see what it's like again. And like, dude, it's 6 to 7 months into this. He's like, he drops off, and everyone's like, oh, maybe he OD'd, maybe. And then it's like a year later, he's like, I've been in rehab. I'm back out now, guys, but don't worry, on the straight and narrow. 3 years later, I've been in rehab again.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I saw it's a documentary. It's I think he's a NASA employee or engineer. It's a black guy with the glasses.
The guy with crack?
Talking about crack.
Dude.
And he later OD'd, and he's just as straight faced as can be. He's like, I don't care. He's like, when I leave here.
He is the most logical crack smoker you've ever seen in your life, right?
Yeah, he's just straight up about it. He's just saying it. And he's like, I get it. I've seen people throw their lives away, but until you try it. Which is like why I'm just never going. You just don't know. You just don't risk that.
I'm all right.
Yeah, no, nope. I'm good.
Yep, I don't need.
However, though, I will tell you, if I'm like 70 or 80 years old and I get like you have 6 months to live. Oh, you're having a smorgasbord. I'm gonna ride the tiger.
I'm gonna see what all this jazz is all about. Everybody.
Yeah, at that point, like, man.
Well, I think have you ever heard of the comedian Doug Stanhope? He's from like the early '90s till he still does it. He's just an older guy now, and he debaucherous and filthy and think of the worst jokes you ever could. That's him. Always advocates everybody doing all the drugs that they want. Very like if you want like libertarians to have like a bad image, he's the bad image, but he's funny as shit. Yeah. He's just hilarious.
Here's my PSA, kids. Don't do crack.
Yeah.
we did our good day. We might have saved the youth.
All of y'all disobeying your parents and listening to odd podcasts in the evening. Yeah, don't do
if
crack.
y'all are smoking weed in the basement, that's fine. Just don't do crack.
Yeah, but who the hell was I just talking about?
Comedian.
Oh yeah, Doug Stanhope. No, even he I think his mom like had 6 months to live or something like that. And his mom was like, I want to have like a suicide party. And they got him and his brother and his mom got together and watched like her favorite movies and gave her cocktails of different drugs and different drinks. And she's like, I want to go out in a blaze of glory tonight. And like by the next morning, she was gone and they partied with her all night. And I was like, what a fucking wild, like I'm not going to do that. I don't want anybody but.
How do you know when you're dead?
I guess they
do. They know, but like I would hate that. Like just be like a trip and then it all goes black as it's nope.
Nah. No, me neither. There's some people that want some wild shit to happen. Which I'm all for it. Live life. It's your body, it's your life. As long as you're
I hope I die in a blaze of glory, but I don't want it to be like a mental.
Like here's a really weird thing about me. Like I don't know. Well, I tend to go about my life and like with my family and my kids and stuff. I lead a pretty conservative lifestyle, I'd say, compared to. I'm a rancher, for God's sake. You kind of have to a certain degree. However, when I hear these people of different walks of life, like that crazy stuff, I can't imagine putting myself in the mindset to want to do something like that with one of my parents. If it was their last wish, I mean, I'd love my parents. I'd respect them as much as possible. But I love the fact there's people like that in this world. Like, I'm like, that's cool as shit that life goes from Japanese people with paper dragons and parades to suicide party with parents dying. Like, what a wild reality this is.
You have like NASA physicists and then the soft white underbelly.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I saw that. We mentioned a little bit of it before the show, and that's rough. How did you find out about it? Just got recommended on your feed somewhere?
Or like a YouTube, and it was like the guy that can't talk and he just barks. And
what soft white underbelly is, there's this interviewer. He's the same guy, but he goes all over the country and finds the most downtrodden areas and interviews people there. And they're like, I won't talk to you unless I got heroin. He's like, calm down. I'll give you some money for some heroin. Just let me sit down while you do it. I'm going to interview you, and I'll give you $50. And they're like, all right, we'll do it.
I'll take that deal.
Yeah, like the one I watched was, it was on Skid Row in LA, which I guess is actually a real place.
Not just a band?
No, I always thought like people referred to it as a general area, or a bad place. No, it's like the street's name is Skid Row, where all the homeless people live. And he was interviewing like these two meth out homeless people. I mean, piercings every which way, look like skeletons, a guy and a girl. And God, within 5 minutes of interviewing them, like, this score one for the atheists. I get one of your points now. Jeez. I mean, he's like, yeah, like he's talking to the woman. We said this for the show, and he's like, so when did you start using meth? She's like, at 13 years old. He goes, oh, what made you start that? my cousin had it after I was molested. And he's like, oh, who molested you? My whole family. And it's like, oh my God. Like, duh. Poor people. All right, maybe meth makes you not think about that.
Still don't think meth is the answer.
I don't think it's the answer, but it makes a little more sense.
Just be a wino. Like,
drink your problems away until it's always time. That's socially more acceptable.
Yeah, crawl in the gutter with a bottle.
And your skin stays healthier.
Yeah, you got most of your teeth.
Stays a little fattier in your skin. Although, man, when you see like a really, really spent wino, that's a different kind of...
Start getting kind of the yellowies or liver's failing.
Or like the fat red cheeks and puffy nose where you can see the pores real easy.
Gotta drink the Listerine when they wake up.
Oh, man. So, yeah, meth, hell of a drug. Well,
that's water in his cup, by the way. It's not wine.
But, by the way, like, I remember our good buddy we brought up a couple shows ago, Ethan, the redneck genius. Me and him were hanging out one. And I'm a side note, if y'all are listening and not one of the fabulous people watching on YouTube, by the way, follow us at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, at Bandit Radio Hour. I'm a skinny shit. I've always just been skinny as a rail. And I remember our good buddy Ethan came up to me one day when we were hanging out a lot. And he goes, listen, man, you know you can tell me the truth on, like, anything you're going through. I'm like, yeah, and I've stayed at his house before when I was going through some hard shit. And he's like, so, you been smoking meth? I'm like, what? No! He's like, Josh, you can tell I haven't been smoking meth! I think I've seen it once in my life, and I left as quickly as I could.
You just look out and start wiggling your teeth like, no,
it's still there. I just don't brush good. That's it. I need to floss more, I swear to God. But no, that's... if there is a drug I don't like, but like the lifestyle, it'd probably be something like cocaine, because it always just looks like people are dancing and having a good time. But how I heard a guy describe it once, and I thought it was really accurate, he goes, you're the man. Like, when it comes to dancing, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to everything, you're the man. Like, you have no faults when you're on cocaine. I'm like, that is the last damn drug on earth I need. I need to be reminded of my faults and my insecurities every waking moment.
Johnny Bravo in powder form?
Dude, it'd make Johnny Bravo look mild. It'd be bad. So, yeah, I don't know how we went from crypto dollar to Johnny Bravo and Coke. Episode title.
That would be terrifying. Coked out Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo was a hero. A national hero.
Could not be made today.
So, dude, I was trying to think of some other stuff that came up in the news. Actually, I'm just looking at our little dumb list here about what else we got to talk about. One thing that I've noticed, one thing that has been everywhere is Tucker Carlson just dropping bombs on January 6th.
It's better to drop bombs on Syria.
We'll get to that. That's pretty shitty. But no, dude, have you seen the latest footage with the shaman?
Oh, him just being like escorted around a little tour?
Yeah, and like praying with the cops. And
yeah, he's like having a little tour guide.
Did you see the video Elon Musk showed of him before he goes into the Capitol with the megaphone?
Or he's like saying Trump told us to leave.
Yeah. Trump told us to leave. We all need to go home. Yada yada.
You see the ones where the people in the black change into the MAGA outfits?
No, I haven't seen.
They're in their black Antifa gear and they're like changing, like in the bushes, and they're like yelling, "Delete that!" And they're trying to get the phone and.
It's totally. They had all the stuff loaded the next day for this is the worst.
I saw that when the Democrats they wouldn't allow it to be bipartisan investigated. They hired a Hollywood producer and film editor to cut and splice everything.
Yeah. And it's pretty fascinating. Pretty good stuff. So there's been a lot of attention on that. And, the Democrats wouldn't go along with the Republicans on the January 6th thing. But something they just, they definitely have their differences, and we can see it in this very divisive culture war, whether it's abortion or LGBTQ, what the hell ever it is now.
It's pretty much all the alphabet.
You can see it with free speech and with censorship, and you see it. But the one thing, like, both parties could always just find common ground and come together on, seemingly, like, magically every time.
What's that?
Bombing the living shit out of people. There was I want to bring up the official count Because, here lately, Merce, elaborate on this for me while I'm bringing this up. Who would you say recently in the past 20 years has become like the anti-war party?
I guess you say Democrats.
Anti-war?
I don't know. I feel like they all yell it whenever they need something.
Well, if the Republicans have been good at something, it's when a Democrat is in power. They're not good at this when Republicans are in power.
That's what I'm saying. I don't really see either one.
But when there's a Democratic president, normally they kick and scream about, what's whatever we're being drug into, my constitutional rights. But then when a Republican's in office, they bulldoze it. But they had a hearing the other day to end the war. It was a resolution to end the warring conditions in Syria real quick. I can't bring it up on my Twitter, damn it.
Was it how they voted?
It was how they voted. And number one, if you would have asked me and probably most good conservatives lately, I'd say they probably would have said the Republicans have seemingly been the most anti-war. Seemingly, they talk the biggest game about it at least. Well, you don't
but I feel like deep down they are the war party. Is the problem?
Well, when we were growing up, they absolutely were.
Yeah,
and George Bush years. I mean, but no, they more Democrats and Republicans by a gigantic margin voted to not end the war in Syria, which technically they never approved.
Yeah.
Which is mind blowing. Like, they did not have a congressional act to start this war, but they bring it up like, let's vote to end it. And they're like, no. Which, to give an idea of how fucked up what we're doing in Syria is. So Dave Smith did
oh, it's fine. There's oil there.
Did it excellent. Actually, Dave Smith brought a very, very interesting connection. So y'all remember us talking about based Assad and, Blake Shelton letters to his wife.
He's got a happy marriage.
Yeah. So I think when we talked about it, just a brief overview, from what y'all might remember, we invaded Syria because they were attacking our lifelong allies, the Kurds, who, depending on the day, are either our ally or someone we don't care about. We started launching an invasion under Obama. Then as soon as we were pulling out, it seemed like Assad gassed his own people. Which would be the most retarded military decision ever. After a lengthy investigation and other whistleblowers, no, he did not gas his own damn people. It was like, if anything else, it was a hoax. But all that to the side, whenever we were giving money to ISIS, it's crazy.
You don't hear them anymore.
Dave Smith broke this down. At the same time, so Iraq and Syria share a border, right? And literally, right down this border, on one side of it, we're killing ISIS in Iraq. On the other side of that border, we're giving ISIS money to fight Assad. Because Assad is like a moderate. He's not like a Taliban or like he's a dude in a suit that's like, I want to make money.
Yeah.
I want my country to make money. So whenever we were invading and going, you remember Trump coming up and going y'all remember him saying hey, Russia wants to fight ISIS. I say let them fight ISIS. Well, what he was talking about was ISIS that we were paying to fight Assad. Assad got realized America was backing them, got on the phone with Putin and said, hey, I need some help with these terrorists in my country. Russia said, hey, we have been invited by a country to help them with their terrorist problem, which our future pipeline also happens to go through. That us and the United States have been at a bidding war over where this pipeline is going in Syria. So, since Syria invited Russia, Russia sends down some helicopters and some troops to combat ISIS, who we're paying. Dude,
why does this feel like the 70s?
Dude, it flips, and Putin goes from being a respected ally on the world stage to right then the media starts going, Putin's crazy. We can't trust Russians. They're hacking they're hacking our elections. This is all about that time. It's they made us stop. They were kind of, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're selfless. They're a ruthless gang that's a government dominating Russia is how I look at it. But at the same time, they're oh, we're going to give the U.S. a black eye on the world stage. Because been running the world like it's their cheap whore. The government, not American people, but like the government's been using these third world countries like it's their cheap whore, just investing money and bombing them. We're going to push them out of this one and get good relations with Syria. And go from there to Ukraine.
And then we blew up another pipeline.
Yeah. No. That was just a pro-Ukraine group.
Yes.
That must have had the technology to go deep underneath the damn sea.
Yes, it was pro-Ukraine.
Yeah. Which isn't that the United States military is pro-Ukraine? But anyways, what I was
that's NATO.
No, true. That's tomato, NATO, NATO. The thing I was getting at is they had a vote to keep this going on in Syria. And actually more Republicans voted to stay in war than the Democrats did. Overwhelmingly, like it was 3-1.
I was surprised at the numbers, or the fact that it wasn't even like close. It was just like overwhelmingly, we're staying.
And like, dude, they even still do sanctions on Syria, which, again, another Dave Smith point I'm kind of echoing, but in my own little bandit way. Like the point of sanctions, the idea of them is you make it illegal to trade into this country with anybody on our team. So nobody in France, nobody in Germany, nobody in South America, nobody anywhere can sell anything to anybody in Syria. And what the idea of that is to make the local populace restless and angry at their government that they'll then rise up against and dethrone. How many times has that ever happened?
Well, we tried it January 6th.
That didn't do good enough of a job, it seemed like. But, like, that never... Again, another Dave Smith reference. Might as well call that episode tonight. But he said it's almost like if someone was robbing a bank and you said, hey, what we're going to do is starve the hostages. That's our plan. And eventually the hostages will get so upset, they'll fight the bank robber because they want food. It's like, what a retarded idea.
Yeah, it's a good way to just get them killed.
Yeah, like, it's just the people will just suffer. But it's, all that will continue on. And, like, I am into this stuff. If you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, do we technically have an ongoing war in Syria? Even I would have probably said no. No, we're probably still doing CIA infiltration and tactics and hit and run stuff over there. But no, I guess we're still, just shows how many people.
But we're out of Afghanistan.
The one, we talked about this before the show. Like the one video I saw out of Syria, it's like fucking kids my daughter's age. My daughter and my son's age. Like they're no older than like 8 or 9. And they're playing on a street corner. And like one of them's got their like little shitty flip phone and he's videotaping like them playing a game. And a missile just freaking explodes overhead. And like it's not like a smut film. Like you don't actually see anybody dead. You see like this 9-year-old kid just grabbing his friend who's knocked out from the rubble and just dragging him behind the building. Like he might be dead, might just be knocked out, but just like, this is life.
And then all you do is and those children just grow up to hate America.
Dude, if I found an American flag, any flag, or if I found a Chinese flag on that bomb rubble or whatever, I'd be like, all right, my life's goal is to kill whoever flies this flag.
Yeah.
That, like, without a shadow of a doubt.
We are not making friends.
No, and there is a part of me that's like, this has always been a way of the world, is poor damn innocents get caught in, like, the gears of human awfulness. But here's the difference. My money wasn't attached to it.
Right.
Before then. Like, it's like, this was separated from me. I had nothing to do with it.
I guess I gotta pay my taxes.
Yeah, I gotta pay mine, and every time, like, I'm buying more bombs. It's supposed to be fixing roads. Domino's does a better job of that. But instead it's just going to...
Do you see the thing where the guy just spray paints giant penises inside the potholes to force the county to have to do something about them?
Dude, there's a guy I saw in Canada. He's called the Road Anarchist. And he puts on a balaclava, like covers himself, and he goes out in the middle of the night and fixes potholes in Canada that are like...
Didn't he get in trouble for doing it?
I think he did, but like people will come up and like give him weed and give him money. He's like, whatever, I just want my roads to work.
Yeah.
Like,
but we need the government for roads.
Dude, it's... And I've said it a couple of shows, but I guess you just grow up. You grow up surrounded by rules and grids, and you don't see that. Maybe that's your natural assumption is how, but I mean, I don't know. As compared to what? There's this awesome quote. Under the threat of anarchism, there is a great chance that someone will be murdered or raped or robbed. No, just murdered. There's a chance that someone will be murdered. Underneath the protection of the state, it's a guarantee.
Yeah.
So it's like, take your pick. So sorry to make it all like doom and gloom on the end of tonight's episode, but listen, I'll make up for it. We got something extra entertaining in the works this week. I'm kid free. I will be working cows. That's going to be a son of a bitch. But if I got the energy, we're going to bring y'all a couple of very special bonus episodes this week.
Unless the week just keeps getting worse. Then
like, there's a chance this stuff just beats our ass and I don't make it over here.
I am not looking forward to Monday's stock market open. I can go ahead and tell you that tomorrow.
Well, what are you doing for work this week?
Well, I was gonna be spraying melons, but it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
Nice.
So you might not be you're on a tractor probably.
I'll be pushing cows.
Oh, it's supposed to rain.
It's
supposed to blow 40 miles an hour, so you're gonna have a fun time in sideways rain.
I'll be pushing cows.
So I will be
leave my phone in the truck.
My goal is to get my blueberry beds finished before it rains. And then that's about all I got going on. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be spraying melons. And then I'll be free in the evenings if we want to get some more content.
Right on. Well, guys, we'll try to bring it to y'all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for making it this far. And we're almost to 100 retards that want to listen to my every word.
That's actually terrifying.
It really is. People, y'all ain't got nothing better to do, but hell, keep tuning in. I'll keep doing it. It's fun. See y'all later.